Welcome to Often Pacing on Tab Radio Racing and Sport. Tim Walker will be joined by Matt Young and Oliver Cownie as they delve into the form for today's Pinjarra harness meeting, as well as an early look at tomorrow's meeting at Gloucester Park. We are Often Pacing.
And it is great to have your company at the slightly earlier time this morning on Often Pacing off the back of another terrific weekend of harness racing, headlined obviously by the Diamond Classic on Friday night, which was taken out by Ruby Lavera, Justin Prentice and Kyle Harper to the fore. So while he's over on the East Coast overseeing never-endings preparation for the Eureka, he's able to strike another $100,000 race win is Justin Prentice over here in the West. We're going to dive into that and much, much more over the next 25 minutes or so. We've got Glen and Ollie Cownie standing by, and I'm also going to catch up with Michael Brennan and get the very latest on his team for today at Pinjarra, and also he's got a runner heading towards the Pearl on Friday night and the marathon as well, which there's always a lot of interest in what we see out of that 3,300 metre event. All right, in the meantime, let's welcome in our experts, and Ollie Cownie's back with us on the line. Hello to you, Ollie.
Hey, Tim. Hey, Glen.
And Glen Moore is with us as well, filling in for the big shoes of Matt Young today. Hello to you once again, Glen.
Hey, good morning, Ollie, and good morning, Tim. Yeah, what a night, Friday night. The action-packed Diamond Classic. You didn't know where to look up the straight.
You certainly didn't.
The big guns were there, but Ruby Lavera spoiled the party.
She certainly did, Glen. And let's start with that race then. So you touched on the performance of Ruby Lavera. A word on the performance of her firstly before a couple of those in behind who produced some very, very credible performances as well.
Very meritorious, really. She did get a little bit of luck, as Kyle Harper alluded to there, but you have to be able to have the ability to take advantage of what happened, with particularly with Copperhead Lady early when it galloped, and it created an opportunity for Kyle to grab that three-back spot, which looked a little difficult on paper to see that happening. Once he got in there, it travelled well all the way, and there's a lot of moves in the run, wasn't there? Copperhead Lady, along with Queen of All going forward early. A little bit of action there. Chris Vogt popping before Copperhead Lady when she went to get the breeze. And all that action played into the hands of Kyle Harper and Ruby Lavera.
Certainly did. Ollie, what was your take on the performance of the winner?
It was fantastic, wasn't it? And as much the performance of the winner as the performance of the drive, it was just, as Glenn said, needed plenty to happen for it to end up getting that three-peg spot. You could probably run the race 100 times and it would only land there one time, but it did, and in the end, it got a great run and was able to win the race. It was just an action-packed race, as Glenn alluded to. Copperhead Lady breaking at the start sort of really did open things up, and she was a fantastic effort into third, had every right to sort of finish midfield and be an okay run, but she was exceptional. Better get on pit, probably had a chance there out in front, and was just not quite good enough in the end. And I thought there were a couple of runs in behind. I really did think that Bull Shark Betty was looming and was going to finish it off strongly, but she was good, but just couldn't quite reel them in.
Glenn, is it your opinion that perhaps out of this race, the standout of the 2-year-old fillies at the moment is Copperhead Lady, or do you have a differing view?
Oh, no, I'd agree with that view completely. What she did the other night, Frank Turris being a horse with tremendous upside. We've already seen it, how lethal she was in the heats. When she was pretty authoritative, I know you were pretty confident, and the camp was pretty confident that she would win Friday night, given a reasonable run, but she just didn't get the luck. But to see her overcome that and run the race she did, Frank Turris a little bit in front of the others at this point, but it still does come down to barrier draws. But I see a lot of upside, yes, in Copperhead Lady, Tim.
All right. And what about for you, Ollie? You touched on a few of the beaten brigade there. Is that the way that you see it as well?
Definitely. There were obviously a few horses that you could maybe forgive. Queen of All just did a bit too much work there, contacted her own sulky and over-raced. So possible forgive there because she was just so impressive leading into that race. And when she sort of got up on speed there, you probably thought she'd be one of the players, but potentially just a total forgive. And obviously, as Richie alluded to, quite funny that Kinky was severely checked, probably not for connections, but she's definitely a forgive out of the race and was totally tailed off at the bell and did quite well to end up beating just 40 metres, I think, late in the race. So definitely a few back in the field that you can forgive there.
All right, let's have a look at the balance of Friday night's meeting. Ollie, we'll start with you. Some horses to follow out of Friday's meeting at Gloucester Park.
The first horse to follow comes out of the first race on the card, Amazing American. Quite topical after the Americans took out the medal tally in the Olympics. First up from a spell, really zipped off the gate there to lead quite easily. Last time in, first up, was beaten 70 metres after zipping off the gate as well, and clearly just wasn't quite right. So to see him zip off the gate here and battle on really well into third, I think bodes well for the campaign this time in, and it looks a horse that can take out a race of this nature in the very near future. The next horse I had to follow was out of the third race, and I thought he was really, really impressive here. Chivalry got off the gate nicely to get up outside the leader there, and they only went a moderate lead time and a moderate first quarter, which probably did help, but it was a pretty slick last 1200, and it took the entire home straight for the quite smart Bet the House to reel him in, despite having the cold sit there on his back. With that gate speed and a bit of toughness there, I really do think that Chivalry can find a race soon where he's able to take it out. And then I had another one from Narrogin on Saturday, Magic Bay. I thought he was just exceptional there. He was the best run of the whole night, I thought. He was right out the back in the early stages, and coming to the corner at the end, he was still right out the back and just looked hopeless from there, but powered into it late and was a real eye-catching effort. So Magic Bay is one that, with potentially a better barrier draw, can definitely be a player in a race soon. Okay,
so Amazing American, Chivalry and Magic Bay from Narrogin. Glenn, did you have a few out of Friday night that caught your eye?
Yeah, a couple of those I'd agree with, definitely with Ollie on. The one that really stuck out for me was one that Ollie's already mentioned in Chivalry, sitting outside crowd control, which controlled that race, but still able to come home in 27-6, 28-1. Get the House, obviously, sitting on it. Really, really good job. It's ready to win. Just needs that touch of luck. One that's probably we didn't mention in the Diamond Classic, that amongst a few there that Ollie mentioned too, that have got upside, is Ruia. It is a horse with a lot of depth about it. If you watch closely on Friday night, it's really found the line really strongly. It lacks the ring craft at this stage, but as far as upside goes, I think it's going to make a horse, and it's definitely a horse worth following. It got to the line really, really strongly. You'd probably expect it to find the line, but I really like the way it's been finding the line lately, and I think it's one to follow. From Bunbury, Blazing Reactor, the first upper for Melsops, it went really good. It won authoritatively. Pretty good sectionals, I think, from the Bob Melsop team. Blazing Reactor is definitely one to follow. We had the previous week, Cloud9, Sugar Apple. I wouldn't jump off Sugar Apple or Cloud9, particularly at the draws Friday night and the way the races were run. I'd stick with those because I think they're going to bob up at value in the next couple of weeks.
All right, keep following Sugar Apple and Cloud9, as well as Chivalry, Rua, and then Blazing Reactor from Bunbury for Glen. All right, Glenn, just before we do let you go, is there something over the next 24, 48 hours that you're happy to throw out to our listeners this morning?
Yeah, look, I don't mind the meeting at GP tomorrow. Lion Queen obviously is going to go around really short. Pasquale the same, and captains have time. I think they can all win tomorrow at Gloucester Park. Early on in the day, this Cavalry Call race 1, number 2. I think it's going to lead probably and win. Bramati Steps I expect to improve tomorrow. Race 2, number 3. I think you can find the lead there. It's 7th to Bramante to Louis Duel was okay. Apart from that, I think Ollie's got it pretty well covered today at Pinjarra. The one that he mentioned, Torpedo Rock, hard to beat. They just have a little saver in that race on Beat the Bank that's drawn, now comes into barrier 1. Could either lead or take the sprint lane on Torpedo Rock. I thought that'd be hard to beat. I also like Seaside Magic today. Ollie mentioned it earlier. I think it'll be very hard to beat in race 1, Pinjarra, race 1, number 3 today at Pinjarra.
Fantastic. All right. Appreciate your time this morning, Glenn. We will catch up with you later on in the week and hopefully a few winners between now and then. Thanks for jumping on the phone for us today.
No worries. Looking to the marathon and the pool next Friday night as well, Tim.
Going to be an absolute outstanding night of pacing on Friday at headquarters. All right, Ollie, let's drill down into this Pinjarra meeting. Again, we spoke to you a little earlier on the Sports Daily, and you gave us an overview of the program, but we'll drill down just a little bit closer on a few of these better bets on the card today before Gloucester Park tomorrow night. So the first of yours for today.
The first, we'll kick things off with the best bets in race 3. Vinny Star has been super impressive his last few. I think he's always a horse that's shown a little bit of ability, but he's just starting to put it together. Zipped off the gate 2 back and slotted in behind He's Sam and was battling right to the line there behind that horse who's since gone on to win again. So that looks quite good form. And then last start was able to zip around and retake the lead and was able to hold off Pasquale, who, as Glenn mentioned, is likely to go around a very short price favourite tomorrow. So Vinny Star can lead there and lead for a long way, and the main danger might potentially be I'm Lightning Banner, who's going to get the cold sit on his back, but I'm just hoping that Vinny Star over a mile is able to control it and just zip away in the home straight.
Race 3, number 1 in Vinny Star. All right, the second of your specials for today?
The second of them, as I mentioned earlier, Torpedo Rock, really keen on his chances. He, at times, can show very good gate speed, so he draws a low gate here, and if he's able to zip off the gate and get onto the front, I just think he'll prove awfully hard to beat. As I said, contested a heat of the Higgins, and in that race, he was keeping up most of the way, and he did look a horse that could figure in the placings there in that race, but just got tired really late in the race. The race was taken out by Soradair, who then went on to take out the final. So that looks really good form there to not be beaten too far, finishing midfield. I think Torpedo Rock over the Lightning Lap is likely to be a very hard horse to catch.
All right, Torpedo Rock, race 6, number 4. Just waiting on these markets. They won't be too far away from joining us on Tab Touch. And the last of your specials today?
It comes up in the last race today, so we'll have to wait. But I'm hoping He's Special is exactly that. He ran second on debut last start, and Aldo Cortopassy's had a little bit of success with these older horses. As I mentioned earlier, He's Sam has won a couple recently. So I'm hoping He's Special is able to do similar here from the inside gate, show a bit of gate speed over the mile, and if he can lead, then, I think he'll be awfully hard to catch in this race. Looks a race where the main danger potentially could be, I was thinking, Spinner of Yarns, but the likely favourite is Sea Fury, who's just an unknown here. So at a short quote, probably happy to take it on and just see how it goes. Drawn the back row over a mile. He's Special, just hoping he's able to get away with a bit and hopefully boot away for us in the home straight.
All right, so that is race 8, number 1, He's Special, and we'll be chatting to Michael Brennan in a moment about Sea Fury, so stand by. You'll be able to get a little bit more information from Mouse in just a moment. Can we go to Gloucester Park tomorrow night and see if there is a couple of winners early doors that you can give to our listeners this morning, Ollie?
Hopefully we can find a couple of winners. Glen's done a pretty good job of summing things up there, I think, and I've landed on a couple he's mentioned. Race 2, Bramante Steps, I think is probably likely to go around a pretty short price favourite back into this race, where she may be able to find the front again, and on the front she's generally a very hard horse to catch. The last race she led and won was a much stronger race. I think there's another angle we can play in this race, and it's She's a Mare. It's been really good since joining the Inwood camp. I think she's a horse that has quite a sharp turn of foot. She is likely to find a really soft trip here, and she doesn't seem to be able to sustain that turn of foot. I think she can feel a minor placing here.
All right, so Bramante Steps, horse number 3, and She's a Mare to fill a minor placing. Have you got another one for us?
We're going to go a similar type of bet set up here in race 3. As Glen mentioned, Lion Queen will go around a very short price favourite and trailed up nicely behind Blaze Away recently, and that looks really strong form for this race. I think a good place angle, though, in the race is Our First Impression. Showed gate speed last start and just had to do too much work to find the lead in the early stages, and then was able to give a decent kick, but did get a little bit tired late and finished in 4th there. But I think taking a sit straight away in this race looks a horse that could feel a minor placing at hopefully decent odds in that race.
All right, so Lion Queen hard to beat. Our First Impression, the place, though, in race number 3. So that's race 3, number 1, Vinny's Star today. Race 6, number 4, Torpedo Rock. And race 8, number 1, He's Special tomorrow night. Clearly, Bramante Steps the 3. Hard to beat in race 2, but a place angle on the 1, She's a Mare. And in race 3, the 1, Our First Impression for Ollie. And Ollie, you'll be back on tomorrow morning to give us an even more comprehensive rundown of the Gloucester Park meeting on the Sports Daily. So we look forward to your company then. Thanks for your time today on Off and Pacing.
Looking forward to it. Thanks very much, Tim.
There is Ollie Cownie and Glen Moore with us on the program this morning. Going to take a very short break. We'll come back. Michael Brennan will be with us as Off and Pacing continues this Monday morning.
You are listening to Off and Pacing on Tab Radio, Racing and Sport.
Yeah, we've just slid up the batting order today with no greyhound gossip. So we're in the earlier time slot straight after 9 o'clock this morning. So if you are just tuning in and you missed any of the action, you can jump on our podcast very shortly, tabradio.com.au or Apple Podcasts, Spotify. We'll also have it posted on our social media channels. You'll be able to catch up with all of the best bets from Ollie Cownie and Glen Moore. And you'll also be able to hear from our next guest as well, Michael Brennan, who's going to give us a rundown on what his next couple of days looks like and an eye towards Friday night as well. A very good morning to you, Mouse.
Morning, Tim. How are you, mate?
Going along very nicely. How about yourself?
Can't complain. A little bit of rain around, but anyway, it's winter. Deal with it.
It is, and hopefully there's a couple of nice results on the way down at Pinjarra, which is where we might start, if that is okay. And look at your trio there today. The first of them, Henry Maguire, going around in the first of these lightning laps. How is Henry Maguire going behind the scenes ahead of his return to racing today?
Yeah, he seems to be a lot better this time, Tim. His form was actually, I was a little bit concerned about how we're going to get out of him, to be honest. But when I went back and had a look at his form, I think his last start he ran third to Great Boulder, so I was probably a little bit harsh on him. Today's a little bit tricky, obviously drawn wide, but I do think the lightning lap will suit him because we only have 2 turns in that race, and he can be a bit funny around the bend. So I think that the fact that there's only 2 turns, I'd probably be a little bit disappointed if he didn't run in the first 3.
Okay, all right. And is there something to be said as well for having had a crack at the lightning lap previously too?
Yeah, I think so. As I said, I think it's just the fact that we don't have too many turns in it that really benefits him, because he loses a little bit of ground on the bends and then makes it up in the straight. So if you're only hitting 2 turns, it's a bit of a bonus.
All right, that is Henry Maguire in race number 4, the first of our lightning laps today. We'll go along to race number 7 if we can, where we get to see Zara Tyndall. So how did you come away from the first out performance a couple of weeks back?
Yeah, look, she was good, but she did pull up, very much in need of the run, and I'm not convinced she's a natural leader. So today we got a good opportunity. She had another fortnight's worth of work. She gets to be sat up, and I think her greatest asset is her speed. So same sort of boat with her. I think if we don't run in the first 3, I'll probably walk away a little bit disappointed, but with a serious chance of winning.
Okay, you mentioned about sitting her up there today. Ideally in the run, where do you hope to be placed? Is it midfield perhaps?
Yeah, I would imagine we'd probably look at being 1 out, 3 back, 1 out, 4 back, and just producing a late. I don't think the 2 gets out all that quick. There'll be a bit of pressure from the outside as well, so I think we'll get shuffled back a little bit, but that's okay.
Okay, now we did see Sea Fury trial a couple of weeks ago at Pinjarra. What sort of an animal are you working with here?
A very talented one, I think. I think over the next couple of seasons he'll make his way through to town, no worries at all. I thought his trial was really good. He trialled against Cownie Island, Lou and Duty Bound and horses that are Metropolitan Friday night horses. And he was a bit underdone because we had to scratch him a month ago with some feet issues, and we seem to be on top of those now. But yeah, Ryan was really happy with his trial. He sort of ran his last mile at 58 and ran his last half in 57 at a piece. So that was pleasing to come away from that trial with that, knowing full well that we had a fair bit of improvement. And similarly, whatever he does today, he'll definitely improve on. But his form in New Zealand was very, very good. He's run half a next second to Da Vinci in 155. He got beaten by Dreams of Free narrowly. So he's got really good form over there, and just hoping he can bring it here and progress. Whatever he does today, he'll definitely improve on. Yeah,
okay. So how does it play out today for you from obviously the backline draw?
That's the tricky part. The traffic problems is probably going to be the issue. But similarly, probably just set him up and let him cruise into it from about the 600, I would imagine.
All right, so that is the 3 there today. They're all clearly each-way chances and perhaps even winning chances. Do you have a leaning as to who might be the standout of them?
I think probably Zara Tyndall, probably because she's had that run under her belt. And she's got the speed to negate the draw. But yeah, she's probably my best, mate. I could walk away with 3/3. I could walk away with 3 winners. But the way I'm going at the moment, I could get on victorious, beating a maiden at Muckabuddin.
Let's hope that we're able to see a couple of these go well today and get back on the winners list. Can I just go back to last Tuesday night? So Express Party able to qualify for the Pearl. How did you come away from obviously getting beaten as a short price favourite though? What was the main takeout from it?
All the way through with him, it's just been about performance, hasn't been about result. Obviously, it would have been nice to win one on the way through, and he's been very close to doing that. But, really happy with his performance. His work Saturday was exemplary. He's come on enormously from that run. The other horse was probably just a bit too sharp for him on the night. But he's a very, very talented horse, and really looking forward to giving him a break and bringing him back for a Derby campaign, because he's just got Derby written all over him. He's a very, very nice horse. Okay,
would it be a case, though, of continuing on with him through these 2-year-old races, provided that all of the signs are good, and then at the end of September, that's when you look to tip him out?
Yeah, I would assume so, Timmy. Obviously just let the horse tell us where he's at, but he's a big, strong fella who's very well mannered, and he looks after himself at home. He's a very good eater. He's a very good worker. So we'll just let him tell us where we're going. But ideally we'd like to get through the Pearl and hopefully run a really good race there on Friday night, and then look at possibly the Golden Slipper with him. And are all the signs are that, as you mentioned with Saturday, that if he does draw well, they'll know he's there on Friday night? 100%. He'll be a much improved horse come Friday night. Another hobble run tomorrow. But Ryan was extremely happy with the way he worked yesterday. So he doesn't get animated too often, Ryan Warwick. So it was really nice to hear a pleasing report from him post workout. All right. So that is Express Party now. Bellissimo Acquisto. Will we see Bellissimo Acquisto go towards the marathon, having run in the Higgins a couple of weeks ago? Yeah, definitely. He did those 2 mobile runs after his first couple of stand runs, and I think the marathon will definitely suit him. He's a lovely staying horse with a good bit of high speed, and I think the marathon's sort of right up his alley. Just driven nice and quiet, the noms probably aren't out yet, but I'm assuming a horse like Rock Artist will be in the race, and he might be the perfect one for us to sit on over the 3,300 and be diving at it late.
All right, hopefully that is the case. And yep, I'm still refreshing the inbox here, eagerly awaiting these nominations for Friday night with Express Party and Bellissimo Acquisto to fly the flag for you. We spoke to you a few weeks ago on the Sports Daily and got an update on Penny Tigers, so that now a few weeks further advanced. How's he ticking along?
Going great. Owen Gilbright's just here and he's just done his teeth, so he's got a fresh new set of choppers going on, and he's probably 6 weeks away from being back at the races, but extremely happy. He looks magnificent. He did really well out at Kim Tucky's place, and he gets sport like mad out there, and he's come back looking great. He's got a real nice colour about him, real nice coat, and very happy with the way he's progressing, mate. That's for sure.
Okay, all right. And in an ideal world, getting to the WA Pacing Cup in the middle part of November is the end game. How many starts before that? A couple under the belt?
Tipping the I think it's, the Howard Porter and the Brennan.
Yep.
And possibly one run before that to get him primed for those two, and then into the Pacing Cup, and then all things going well, hopefully we can jump on a plane and go across for the Inners.
All right. Well, that'd be something later on this year if we could see him get back there, and we know that he's already had the trip over to the East Coast. Thank you for your time this morning. We do appreciate it, and let's hope that there's some good results today and a barrier draw for Friday night's Pearl, where Express Party will be going around.
Yeah, absolutely, Tim. Thanks very much for your time, mate.
Imagine what you could be buying instead. For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelpline.org.au.